Could you please do the roll call?
Rich DeBoer, Matt Dill,
Here.
Julie Kay,
Here.
Ed Merson,
Here.
Dan McCarthy,
Here.
Phil Wegley,
Here.
Mary O'Connor.
Here. Have we all had an opportunity to review the minutes from the November 16th meeting?
Yes.
Are there any questions, any changes?
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes as presented.
I'll second.
Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Ed Merson,
Yes.
Julie Kay,
Yes.
Matt Dill,
Yes.
Dan McCarthy,
Yes.
Phil Wegley, Mary O'Connor.
Yes. We only have one item on the agenda this evening. We're going to be discussing the Village of Palos Park Bikeways and Trails Plan. Would you like to introduce our presenters this evening?
Thank you. This plan is a plan that's focused on improving connectivity throughout the Village of Palos Park, not just within, but within the surrounding area as well. The plan is funded in part by the Chicago Metropolitan Agency for Planning through a grant to the village. And the effort is inviting the community to provide input on this plan towards providing this connectivity throughout the community and village destinations and regional trails. The village has hired a consultant to conduct this plan for us, and tonight they will be making a presentation with regard to the findings and some recommendations that are very preliminary in nature at this point, and we're looking for feedback this evening on the presentation and the recommendations. So with that, I'm going to turn the presentation over to our consultants. Stacy Meekins and Jody Mariano are here this evening to guide the discussion.
Thanks for having us here tonight. As Lauren mentioned, we're here to get some feedback on preliminary recommendations and to give you an overview of the entire process that we've run. So the purpose of the plan was to develop a flexible network for short and long-term projects that will serve the needs of the community. The goals that are guiding our work. First and foremost, to provide safe transportation modes for safe transportation networks that accommodate all modes. So that's kind of what brought us here today to look at a bicycle network in Palos Park. Then it became clear in the process that we need to create some safe access points and improve connectivity to the very trail network that kind of borders and infiltrates the village. It also became clear that there was a desire to attract visitors who are already coming to Palos Park for those great trails and attract them to some of the destinations in the village. Improve the visibility and the safety of the trail crossings for people living on the trails themselves, and then encourage the use of bicycles as a transportation option. So we've done a number of public engagement in various ways throughout this project. I would say you guys have very interesting, creative events here that we were really happy to tag team with. So we had a steering committee guide this throughout, and you see some of the familiar faces in the room were part of our steering committee. We have one more meeting with the steering committee to review the draft plan. But we also took the plan and throughout the process to public events. We went to the Hot Dog Day in July. We were at the Holiday Market. We took a bike tour with the steering committee to give everybody a handlebar view of what it's like in Palos Park right now on the bike. And then we also have a website still up, palosparkbikeplan.org, and through that website we administered what we call quick polls, and now it's just people who signed up on the website that are on our list got a really quick short poll gave us some really fast feedback. It's a really good way to get people engaged without taking up a lot of their time. So some of the major themes that came out of our outreach, first and foremost, was it became clear, I mean, even before the project started, that this is a very unique place in the region, and that character is very important. You'll see on the upper right a mind map that a very talented artist did for us in our first steering committee meeting, just capturing what the group thought was an important element for the bike plan. And obviously the topography in the village, trees, the overall character of Palos Park is very important and something that we need to be cognizant of and maintain throughout our recommendations. And then some of the bullet points highlight some of the other key findings that came out through the public outreach. That the regional trails are great, but they're difficult to get to by bike right now, so people are driving to them and getting on the trail through parking and taking their bikes on in their cars. East-west connections would be really desirable throughout the village, and there are limited streets to go through, so it's a challenge. Lack of existing access points to the Calstag, and exploring the possibility to incorporate new trails along existing roadways. So we did a comprehensive review of what's out there today, and that included some of the outreach I already talked about, but also just getting on our bikes ourselves, experiencing the streets in Palos Park, doing some analysis of what it feels like to be on the street on a bike, and just what are the connection opportunities, and what do they look like now. So we do have an existing conditions report that will be going up on the website if anybody's interested in reviewing the entire document. But I just pulled out a handful of maps for this presentation just to give you the kind of foundation of what we're looking at in Palos. And this probably isn't new information to you, but some of it might be presented in a little bit different way. It makes you look at the streets in a little bit different way. The baseline for the roadway network, there are a lot of arterial streets that provide the longer connectivity throughout the village. And what that means is that those streets are also a higher priority for vehicular traffic. So that's one of the challenges that we'll be working through in developing bikeways that are safe and comfortable at the same time that they're providing mobility for vehicles. So this is a demonstration of the existing bike network. There are a number of signed routes and some designated sidewalks, but other than that, and outside of the trails, I should say, the trails are a great network, but they're not all connected to each other, and they're not connected to residents, and they're not connected to other destinations. So that's really what we're looking to improve upon. And so this is one of the analyses that I alluded to, trying to understand how does it feel on a bike on the streets. There's a well-known or well-used analysis throughout this industry. It's called level of traffic stress. And what it tries to get at is the comfort level for a bicyclist on the street, and it uses metrics such as the speed limit and traffic volume to understand, so that you can kind of gauge and grade the street based on what it feels like. So you'll notice all the purple streets that are the longer streets throughout the village. Those are what are called level of traffic stress 4, and that's the most stressful type of street if you're on a bicycle. So the smaller streets, a lot of them are yellow, and those are the residential streets that are pretty quiet. Drivers probably drive pretty slowly, or the speed limit is pretty low. It's not a lot of traffic, so those probably feel pretty comfortable as is. But between the but you'll find that those are pockets, and between those you have connecting them that feels good. So that's the baseline that we were working with. What we've identified in this map is the proposed network of what the bike routes, the whole network will look like. There are 2 dotted lines that you see that might serve as an alternate to the next adjacent facility. So on the southern border of the village, you see a solid line that follows a ComEd easement. But we've dotted a line along 131st Street where we're calling that an alternative because ComEd easement might be a harder place to get a bike facility just due to the coordination that would be necessary. So in the plan, we will also be, this is slightly different from the version that we received last week. Much of it is the same, but there's one difference here. In the plan, we will be outlining what these different types of facilities look like and where they're appropriate, and calling out which streets they would be appropriate for. In some cases, we might have options where you might be able to do a bike lane or a paved shoulder, and we'll be laying out what you would need to do to get there. Maybe right now you could do a paved shoulder. If you widen the road, you could do a full bike lane kind of thing. So there are a number of different types of facilities that we'll be laying out in the plan and what the pros and cons are of those. And again, like I mentioned, where they're appropriate. Because on a higher speed and higher volume street, we want more protection and more designation for a comfortable bike facility. Does anybody have any questions? We can stop. I can take questions throughout if anybody wants to interrupt me. The plan will also include a list of tools for specific stop locations, such as signalized crossings, access to the trails, which might be at a non-signalized cross intersection, or it might be at a mid-block location, neighborhood gateways, and places where the trail itself crosses the street. We'll have some guidance there for how to make sure that's a safe crossing. So then what we had included in our scope was to identify some priority routes, and that's what you will see on the board as well. So we took some options of 4 priority routes to the public at the holiday market to get input on. We had 3 options, or in one case 4, for what we're calling a short-term or a mid-term or long-term type of project. We realized once we got into that some of these have short-term and long-term options within them. So we're really just kind of whittled them down to these 3 routes, which were the most popular based on some online outreach that we had done in the holiday market. So the one in green over on the east side would connect the metro station east to the trail, and then kind of curving up like a jug handle, sideways jug handle to link to the Hillside Trail as well.
Pardon, Stacy,
Yeah.
do you have a pointer you point to?
Or laser.
Laser pointer?
I know we were talking, we know exactly where.
Yeah. That's,
The dark lines are just the borders.
Well, the dark,
thank you.
no, that's a good
Go
point.
to the-
Our arteries are green, but we don't go north of it. It's not clear.
So this green jug handle is what I'm referring to. So this is 121st Street. So this part of it takes Timber Drive and a little bit of 119th Street to connect the metro station, which is labeled right here, to either of these trails. And then another one that was a very popular option, route for us to explore was 119th Street. This is busy now. Oh, sorry. said, we would connect that from LaGrange Road to, or from the trail just near LaGrange Road all the way to the east to connect with Calside again, the Timber Creek Trail. And then the third one was Willow Springs or 104th to connect from McCarthy Road, 123rd up to Calside and make connections to trail through the forest preserve that crosses Willow Springs. So what I'm going to show you is a couple of renderings that we've done for some options along each of those. So this is the existing condition of 121st Street looking from the driveway of the metro station looking east. So one alternative that we have identified is you could do pretty low impact improvement here, simply striping bike lanes on the street. The street's already wide enough, we wouldn't have to do curb and gutter, so this would be a pretty simple repaving and striping. As an alternate, a higher impact project would be a little bit more comfortable for people, especially given that we're connecting to trails. Trails are completely separated from vehicular traffic, so when we're looking at connecting the trails, we like to think about can we keep that same type of comfort level. So this type of facility aims to do that with a side path. Now I mentioned that this project that we're looking at would curve up and use Timber Drive and 119th Street. Those segments wouldn't necessarily look exactly the same as this. But as a first step, you could focus on just a portion from the metro station east to connect to the Timber Creek Trail and get this type of facility. So the second project, 119th Street, this is the existing conditions there. One option, again, looking at a low impact solution where we don't have to add pavement to the street. We can simply restripe it by putting should and marking on the street. And what that does is indicate to both bicyclists and motorists that this is a preferred facility for bicyclists. It kind of legitimizes the use of that road. It tells everybody that this is where we want bicyclists to be, and so therefore you should expect to see them. And then this is a higher impact project along the same route where we would actually widen the roadway to add paved shoulders for bicyclists. And this is along the Willow Springs route. This is at the trail crossing, obviously. So a low impact version of bike route along here might include widening the roadway for paved shoulders similar to what I just showed on 119th Street. But then a higher impact project might include a fully separated side path. Now I should mention that some of these roads are not village jurisdiction and they either go along or through the forest preserve property. 119th Street is owned by IDOT as well. Both of those agencies are on our steering committee, so they're aware of what we're working on and they're seeing these process. But it does add to the complexity of getting this line installed. But having them on the steering committee and having them be part of this process helps facilitate those discussions. So our next steps are to identify which one of those priority projects makes the most sense for the village to move forward with in the short term and develop what we call 5% plans and just look at those, take those concept drawings a little bit further and make some more detailed drawings and more detailed recommendations coming out of them. We have one more steering committee meeting, as I mentioned, which is in early April. And then we'll be taking the plan to the village board in early May. I believe the packet says early April. That's actually when the steering committee So any questions? Comments?
A couple of questions. I, for one, have a hard time following the maps, but that's because I'm kind of brain dead when it comes to reading maps and geography. But it would be very helpful if you could blow these things up to focus on the area of interest, where the trails actually are, and get rid of all this other stuff. Because I had a hard time, and I'm still having a hard time, figuring out exactly where all of these things are. And I've lived here for a long time, and I'm a bicyclist. So. But and I've had, unfortunately, an injury, so I've been riding my bike in a couple of years, but I have noticed that, and I haven't even been on the new trail, which is unfortunate, but I have noticed, I've been looking so that now when I'm healthy, I'm going to get up my bike again and go riding. There's no place to park on these, I mean, and we have a lot of hills here. I don't know if you've noticed that or not, but the hills of Payless Park are killers, especially for old guys like me. So planning trails is terrific, but when you get to be older, you need to have a place to park your car with your bike on the back end, because, you know, I may kill myself just from my house, which is literally 2 doors that way, until I get to the trailhead, you know. So one question that I didn't see anywhere in here is providing more parking around the existing access to the trails.
Okay.
Riding a bike in Payless Park is very, very difficult.
Yeah, has any consideration been done or anything on that underpass on 119? Is that still a viable passage? Is it a horse path off Rambo, or is it down? It kind of goes along the rest of the park. Is it still
Yeah,
I think it's still there.
It's still there, yeah, it is, yeah.
I've never, yeah. I know Mary, Rosemary put that in.
That was,
avoid traffic?
Yep, that's
yeah,
definitely
that
on.
was the purpose of the 119 route, was
Right.
to connect them. Because there's already the trails system through there.
It's open for comments.
But just give us one second. Have you finished your presentation?
Yes.
Okay. Are there any questions from the board, from the commission?
Well, I do. I live out on Timber Lane, and I have a concern about adding more traffic to Timber Lane. It's a cut-through street right now for the intersection of 83 and Southwest Highway. We get a lot of traffic just in the morning with commuters just getting to the train station. We get school buses cutting through all the time. Traffic's always coming through there. It's not a state highway or a county highway, it's a residential street. And right now, you know, the residents get kind of uptight with it, and we've had the police department put up the radar trailer to slow down. I know one lady has a perpetual sign to slow down. Traffic speeds through our street because it looks like you could speed through there, but I'm kind of concerned they have more traffic on Timber Lane by this. And the other thing you got to watch out.
Clarify, you're concerned about having bike traffic on it?
Yeah, and more traffic, yes. Also, the intersection of 121st, Timber Lane and Southwest Highways, you got a 4-lane highway. There's always an accident there, and it's a pretty bad accident. You're probably going to need a traffic light because people are coming southbound from Southwest Highway. If they miss the left turn at 83, they come and they turn at 121st Street, and it's all backed up all the time. This is really a bad idea.
Yeah, I didn't mention that, but we would not recommend the crossing there without additional countermeasures like maybe a signal or pedestrian refuge island, which would be a immediate in the middle, so you only have to cross one direction of traffic at a time.
Okay, so that's my concerns on Timber Lane. We have a lot of cut-through traffic, and because we're not a cul-de-sac like other streets, we get a lot of extra traffic from the north, and it increased when the or the metro station opened to 121st. I see a lot of pedestrians and cars coming our direction, also when they go to the hospital in the morning, so I'm going to go on record for that.
Well, thank you very much, and I think I would like to open it up to comment. So, please,
I'm trying to find it.
would you please go to the microphone and state your name and your address?
My name is Don Finan. I live at 8616 West 21st. I'm Payless, president about 20 years. Been involved in the committee, but I like to talk now as president of the White Club, Payless Park Veterans. I welcome all this work, of course, as tremendous future design. I'm very concerned about safety. And I'm talking about safety for children, safety for my grandchildren, my great-grandchildren. It might take that long to get some of these things done, but that's a prime for me. And I did mention that, but if you look at high impact versus low impact, some of the low impact, meaning lower cost, they're dangerous. And I would only consider them in very rare cases to have markings on the road itself. Most of this paths around here or most of the access around here, I think should be high impact, off the road, either a good shoulder or a side path to make it safe for children. So these are all long-term paths, most of them anyway. But that's what we have to think about. If you look at ways to make the community more attractive for children, families, this is very important for the future. To have a plan, to take families, give them education, or exercise, a way to see a beautiful country, the woods, have good family activity. If that could be done, we'll see Payless Park being very popular because of the high draw pleasure. So it's a way to show off the area. But I just want to make sure, in my mind, when I leave, my children and other children are safe. So if you're going to do anything, make sure it's a safe pathway for our kids. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Would anyone else like to take the microphone? Just to echo, I think, your sentiments, goodness me, it's been an argument in Payless Park for as long as I've been alive about should we have sidewalks, should we have shoulders, should we have, violent. We've had violent arguments at times over this subject. The safety issue concerns me too, and we've always had this sort of pull. We've always had to accommodate horses, but then people would say, well, if we put in more improvements to accommodate any group, is it affordable? Can we do it well enough? Do we really want to attract all that? I mean, it's been sort of a circular argument for decades. I'm not sure what the right answer is either, but the thought of truly safe shoulders, I find very appealing. I know that will not be appealing to everyone in the village, so there will, I'm sure, be considerable discussion on that. But I appreciate your thoughts.
Where does funding for stuff like this come from?
Well, a lot of our main roads we don't own. So I would assume that if they were going to tear up 86th Avenue for some, at some basic level, they might be thinking about putting in these lanes. 119th is not our jurisdiction. 123rd is certainly not our jurisdiction. 45 is certainly not our jurisdiction. So the roads with the most stress for bicyclists, I think it would certainly be a long-term plan to have these lanes go in.
Right, especially on the ones that aren't village jurisdiction, as you mentioned. And I think, so those will be longer term, and but those are also important to get on the plan so that those other agencies know that that's the desire of the village to have a bike route on that street. And so in those cases, it would be where, like McCarthy Road, for instance, you might need to wait until IDOT is ready to reconstruct the road for an improvement along that, certainly along 45. 119th Street, you know, is a different case because it's a smaller, it's an IDOT roadway, but it is lower volume. It's not one of their more important thoroughfares. So that's something that the village might be able to seek their own funding for, and IDOT would be willing to work with you on that. And then some of the village-owned roadways, there are grant programs for installing bike lanes or other bike routes. CNAC, Congestion Mitigation and Air Quality, is one of those grant programs. Transportation Alternatives Program is another one out of Illinois DOT. So there are a number of different programs that you could apply for funding through.
And what's the timing likely for this kind of stuff?
I mean, for the entire network, it's very long term.
Can you put a number on that? Is it 20 years?
20 years or
At least.
more in the case of like about 45 probably, or it depends on the state agency's schedule for when they're looking to upgrade their roads, so I can't speak to that. What kind of conditions they're in, where they are in the pipeline of needing to be rebuilt.
One quick question. This is fantastic work that you've done. Like, as in terms of more so along the lines of the high impact style, which is a separate pathway, who usurps the cost of the maintenance long term for maintaining those pathways?
It would likely have to be on the village to maintain it. Even if it's on an IDOT or Cook County roadways, they would probably want to enter an agreement with the village, for the village to do maintenance.
And seeing as some of this funding initially comes from outside of the village, is there something that's put aside for long-term maintenance costs in that, or is all of it just come to the building?
Within the grant, it's probably just for the construction.
We would have to budget as part of our annual budgeting
Right.
process. We budget
Yeah,
for maintenance.
just
of
an
streets
operating
and
expense,
sidewalks.
Gotcha.
It would be done as part of the capital improvement program.
Now, I'm assuming that runners can use the bike lanes. It's on 119th, that's who uses 119th. It gets amazingly crowded.
The designated bike lane is supposed to be, strictly for bicycles, but if you're doing just the wide shoulder, paved shoulder, that would be for bicyclists and pedestrians and runners.
A comment there. We try to stress in our club etiquette, road trail etiquette, and you have to do it all the time. On Kelsey, we find everything. We find skateboarders, we find inline skates, we find families just walking, runners, and bikes. And we hope there won't be any accidents, but you never know. The thing is, we want to set an example as a club, and it takes work. I mean, if you go countries like Holland, you find people knowledgeable in biking, knowledgeable in shared paths. We just have to build it up with the culture.
And in communities similar to Vales Park, where they want to keep the kind of character that you have here, a paved shoulder often is used as a way to provide that facility for pedestrians and bicyclists, as opposed to adding sidewalks, which is something you've had some challenges with here, or some disagreement here. And so maybe that's a compromise for the village.
Yeah, I do know that, downtown where I spend a good bit of my life, ever since Mayor Daley put in that highly intricate system of bike trails, we all take our lives in our hands. I think those, that striping where, particularly in low light, bicyclists are coming down, you don't necessarily see them or necessarily expect them. To me, if you're going to have a bike lane makes sense out of the flow of traffic. But that's an expensive, very long-term proposition, so. And it makes us dangerously close to sidewalks. So, what's next? I mean, who knows? So.
Well, through the community, traffic is a little, on my street, I don't have any trouble. I don't think my grandkids would have any trouble going down my street. Still, we're talking about the big streets to get to the other paths. And I think we've got too many visitors coming through, not visitors, commuters coming through these streets, McCarthy, 86th, all these streets are being used by people other than the community. You get a community streets, side streets, I don't think it's an issue.
No, it's really on the main streets. I would certainly not want to take a bicycle down Southwest Highway. I wouldn't go down 123rd. I wouldn't go down 86th in particular, so,
But if you don't, you can't get to any of the trails.
Well, it's absolutely correct. It's absolutely correct.
That's why it's nice to see you have a plan in place, and what a key asset that we have to have that CalSAG system in our backyard, but not being able to access that safely as a resident with kids in town. It's nice to see
And since
making
you can't-
steps.
Since you can't get there without driving on some of these streets, if you take your car, there's no place to park.
86th parking lot there, right? Off
You're
CalSAG.
right, parking there. By the way, I did a presentation for the village,
Right.
and there's no 8 years ago. I suggested-
Could you take the microphone, because we are taping this.
Okay. The access to CalSAG is very important. I've asked the people at the Forest Preserve, who went down to the Forest Preserve office is about a tunnel on Route 83. They looked at that path, and the path can't be done because of the type of soil. The only thing left is a bridge. Just put in the plan. I mean, let's put the word bridge in there. I want to make that thing safe for children. I mean, let's shoot for it. That's all I'm asking. You have to do things like that.
Well, I'm sure we're assuming that somebody else is paying for this, so, that, I think Palos Park always needs to be aware of the cost. And it's, so that's
But
that's part of the balancing act,
And you
right?
see how we're even here today. It was a grant that was applied for from the Village of Palos Park, and kudos to Palos for applying and getting it. And who knows, what if we did get a bridge and we applied for a grant? And
Yeah, you never know.
Yeah, you never know.
But,
Yeah.
but we are counting on the fact of the kindness of others.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, please.
14 South 93rd Avenue. So I live very close to 119th Street, just a little bit east of LaGrange Road. And I grew up in Palos Park. I love Palos Park. I've lived here almost my whole life. We won't say how many years that is. But when the CalSag Trail went in, I started using it, and the first day that I tried it, I rode my bike from my house very early on a Sunday morning and rode along Route 83, where there is a little strip of asphalt, wide enough to accommodate a bike.
Okay.
But way too scary, way too dangerous because of the speed of cars.
yeah.
So I thought to myself, this can't be a regular route. I can take 119th and I can go down the hill on 86th Avenue, and there's a parking lot right across there. There's free access there.
Right.
But coming back, I have to go up that hill on 86th Avenue, assuming I'm in shape to go up the hill. That the hill isn't the problem, but the problem is the direction of the ride, because as you go up the hill and the cars are behind you, they want to go around you, but they can't see far enough to actually make it around you. So you hold them up. And if you're like me, you're a fairly slow rider going up the hills. But I really would like to echo what Don Finan said, that the access to the CalSag Trail, I would just advocate for that to be a priority. Because the trail is a phenomenal space. Almost every time, if you haven't been on the trail, you don't know what you're missing. Every time I ride, I see eagles out there, okay? Between what? The 4th and 5th mile marker, you know? They're there all the time, and you can take it all the way to the end and wind up near the Sidewalk Nature Center, and all the way along see these, trees and open spaces in nature that, although we have our lovely forest preserves, the trail provides a view of that and an experience of that that is really unique, and I think that people in Palos Park really value. So that's it. I just advocate for the priority of hooking up to the trail, making those access points as safe and as accessible to all ages as possible.
Thank you very much. It's almost been by design for decades that, for example, 86th, you go over some of those hills, they're very blind. There was talk at one time of leveling those out purely for safety reasons, for exactly the reasons why you're discussing this tonight. 119th, you're right. If you're riding up that hill, traffic is blocked because you cannot see over and around to get around you. But yeah, this is what is being proposed is, welcome to Palos Park. We just, it changes things considerably. So, and the only thing that I would just say as a public comment is that please do appreciate our social and political history of how we do look at some of these things. Many residents will be called terrible names about how backward they are, and they don't want, quote unquote modern improvements. There's a certain amount of that, but there is a I'm just asking you to be aware of, you will not have 100% acclamation and applause for this program. No. Anybody else? It would be cool to be able for me to take a walk without taking my life in my hands. I mean, that's kind of like all this. So anyway, anyone else? Not seeing any hands. Well, thank you very much for joining us tonight. We really appreciate the presentation and the information. We understand that we will not be, formally voting or recommending on this, that this is merely a courtesy to Plan Commission to get our input. We're very grateful for that. Thank you very much.
Thanks for all your comments, and if more thoughts come up, please make your comments to Rick or Lauren, and they'll get them to us.
Good. Thank you so much. All right.
We're also happy to stick around if people have other questions or comments that they want to address out in the lobby.
Okay. Well, I don't believe we have any further business this evening. Any other comments from what we did this so far? Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Thank you very much, everybody.
So you've been around back when,
Oh, God.
yeah,
I've
I
been-
helped with their steering committee. But from what I gather, I was helping them on the steering committee. They said that it got pretty contentious. I said everything that kind of poison at 86, getting to that trail, it's just hard. Even if you do these like
I used to ride a bike more.
15 years
Got
ago,
away
we
from it. I always
had a
enjoyed it
chance
as a
to
kid,
make
but I had
a-
more time.
You had no idea.
I know it's good.
We were, I was on the